I welcome you all, especially those that come on board early to join this session on the environmental sustainability. Some of us on the platform we have created some months ago. And like I did mention in our previous meeting, I think we had one meeting where we were able to clarify what it is we're trying to achieve. The purpose basically is to see how, as individual, as a business entity, we can contribute our quota to sustaining the environment around us. It's a global initiative, it's a global idea, but of course it has to be localized. And every one of us is important to the achievement of that agenda. Like I did said, quite a number of us will look at it from the perspective of government, perspective of big corporate organization. But the truth is, it still boils down to individuals. It boils down our activities as individuals, even in our small space, in our house, in our room, in our car, how and what we do, have a lot of impact on the environmental sustainability. And when we look at the various angle, various perspective, especially from some of the things that have been shared in the video earlier, you will realize that it's not just about when we talk about the contamination of the air or the carbon monoxide or whatever it has a lot more to do than that. And as an inhabitant of the earth, if we do not get cognizance of things that happen around us, or we do not also control some of the activity around us by also cautioning some people, we will all have we will all be eventually be affected. And that is why the consciousness, the awareness, the education, the encouragement, the admonishment, the push, and sometimes, the pressure of ensuring that people do things right, when it comes to sustaining the environment is very important. And again, in our previous discussion, I've shared about how the interest of the Nigerian government, especially in this initiative, I came on board this partnership because of what some of the things I have also done in the past, and some of the things I'm still doing. And they had invited me. Some of you will also remember that I won the Global Mentor Award of the Year in 2022. So that's also gave me some part of the recognition that they felt, okay, they enrolled me as one of the ambassador to push and, in Africa and especially in Nigeria, more, on the drive to sustainability of the environment. And that's how I came on board. And of course, yes, I've also have that, I would say the instruction to also get more people to come on board. Now, it's a project that is for a very long time, but it's a project that is, the truth is there's no any form of finance anyway from the Netherlands government. But they believe that if we see the goal, ultimately, if you believe in the idea and initiative, then there's nothing wrong that you also coming on board. So I come on board because I strongly believe in it. It's a topic or it's a course that I also teach, I facilitate, and some of them I've been doing, especially my own, involvement in Rotary over the years, and it's one of the things we do. We strongly believe in Rotary, and we even believe strongly in tree planting, which we do every year compulsorily. So these are the things that endeared me personally, and I've had a lot of couple of people too that do it, at different platform in Nigeria and even in Africa and globally. And so I'm also encouraging more people for us to form that formidable force. And I see a lot of opportunity really, eventually. And I'm going to say a few things about the opportunity that probably will come. You know, as part of my job, as an HR person, and I'm also involved very heavy in recruitment. I've seen companies asking me to give them qualified people, candidates for employment as a sustainability manager, senior level, as a sustainability manager or director. And one of the things I've discovered is that it's not a career path that is very bold and strong like every other career path right now, especially in Africa and even in Nigeria. And it took us a lot of challenges getting people. What people do most time, or what we are comfortable with in the environment, is that we call a corporate social responsibility. All right, so there's a difference between that. Corporate social responsibility is also have a little bit of effort geared to other direction, but it's not totally. When we talk about corporate sustainability and environmental sustainability, so it was a tough one. All right, but most organizations will tell you, okay, get somebody that have that strength in CSR and then the environmental sustainability, but more emphasis on sustainability. So I feel a lot more people will also see career path, and it's really wonderful because it's also a global perspective or a global initiative that's embraced. So for everyone that wants to go into career path, of course, a very good opportunity. What again do I see? I see us, a lot of company organizations talk about, clean environment, all of this initiative of government. They need people to drive it. Okay, so whatever we're doing at our local level, at our individual level, eventually it will show up, it will come up, it will be noticed, it will be seen. All right. And that is why I feel it's not about the pecs. It's not about what is the need for me, but it's about what am I going to do in my own little space, with my own little resources, with my own, even if just education, you have 5 people you're able to talk to about this idea and be able to get them to also have a right mindset, then we are on a journey. We are on a journey. So these are the things I feel we need to see beyond that. And then who says eventually? Because I know the way it works is that as we work as a team, as we push the narrative, as we get going, of course, there will be strong recommendation. There will be need for some more partners, all right, to come on board, and there will be need for whatever it is you want to say is a need for you eventually, because you are involved and you are doing it, and you may not be noticed now, you may not be seen now, but ultimately someone will recognize, someone will see you. That is the way I see it, and that's for me. Every good idea, I believe, even if it doesn't have any benefit right now, I believe ultimately something comes out of it. But it depends on persistence, commitment, and what you can see. So I just want to encourage every one of us. Let us drive it together. We try to build a team, and we are trying to also get some people to champion the narrative around different areas. For those of us that are on the platform, we have created different part of the areas of what we intend to achieve ultimately. And what we intend to do is to now begin to narrow down our idea, especially for anyone that believe in a particular angle or part of the narrative. What do I mean? I mean, like I said, we have tried to break down the SDG goals as it were, the area of focus as well. So we have the renewable energy, we have the food security, we have the supply chain part, we have the water, part, we have the climate, and so many things. We're going to, in a smaller group, so that we can get more people involved, and people need to lead this narrative from those angles. And then we're going to be doing a lot of more talks, at least maybe once every month or every other month, to see how we can begin to drive that from now. Okay, we're going to have our leadership team also rightly situated, and then we could then get together. So I just want to let you know that look, it's a goal, it's a journey, and every one of us is very relevant and necessary to be part of this journey. So once again, I want to welcome you, to today's event, and I want to thank our speakers that have also volunteered to speak with us. I tell you, our speakers are award winners, especially in narrative of this nature. There are people that believe and seen it and been doing it, both as career and both as, want to talk with us about organizationally driven. So, and every one of us is going to have opportunity to contribute. So it's going to be an interactive session. It's not just one person talk all, or we're going to have our own initiative or ideas submitted, and then we're going to get things going. So, and I also want to believe that it's going to be a very short but impactful session we want to have today. So by 1 o'clock we shut down, and we're going to manage the time to ensure that we shut down by 1 o'clock. So we have started, though we started late, but it's not supposed to be more than like 2 hours or thereabout. So once again, I welcome you all and I thank you for your time. All right. So at this time, we want to have few of us to also make our, contribution in terms of perhaps our understanding, our expectation, and what you think also could drive the initiative for that. So we're just going to do that for like 8 minutes, and then by 11:40, we will have the. In actual fact, the first speaker has not joined. She told us she may be coming later. Her other schedule clashing, but we have the second speaker, Dr. Alex. Many of you will know him, but he has won all the award in the world. I don't know which award again some of us will win, because don't worry, when it's time, we will let you know this man that's just every day. How can somebody be getting an award every day? I don't know. But when we get to that discussion, we'll find out why that is happening. All right. So I will unmute the mic, and then we allow as many of us. You could use the sign button to, all right, to signify your interest to contribute. I'm only afraid of the noise and our background. So please, when you are going to speak, try to ensure that you control your environment. It's part of it, that there's no noise. Noise is one of the challenges we have when it comes to environmental sustainability, and it has affected many lives. So if you can control your environment so that some of us will not be impacted negatively again here, it will be wonderful for us. All right. So please, when it's your time to talk, please ensure that your environment is not noisy, and that will be fine for us. So if you want to unmute yourself right now, or you want to raise your hand for you to be recognized, that will be fine. So we have just 7 minutes to do this, and then we'll go to the speaker session. All right, thank you. So do I have anyone that would like to speak? Like I said, your perspective about the environmental sustainability store, how you think we can drive the initiative for that to get more more results. And that's just what we want to discuss right now, and then we can go to other sessions. Thank you. Do I have anyone that would like to say something or make some contribution or comment? I hope we are all here. So if you are here, can I see some kind of confirmation in the chat room, please? All right, so that I will know I'm not talking to myself. I hope we are here together, and then you can also unmute your mic right now to speak to us. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are. I'm here.
Okay, all right. So speak for yourself. You don't know where others are. That's good. All right. So, you want to say something?
No, for now, I'm just trying to listen and gain some knowledge about environmental sustainability. I think it's a good decision, and we would like to welcome more of this. If you can just good. For us for more of this, and if we can get it recorded too.
Yeah, it's recorded already.
Yeah, I don't know if you are going to pay for that. I don't know, but at least it's going to go along.
It's free.
All right, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So, okay, yes, Agbenla Olayinka, yeah, I see you marking your presence. You have something you want to share with us?
Yeah, good morning, doctor.
Yeah, good morning.
Not at the moment. So
okay.
Program progress.
All right, that's okay. All right. Do we have any other person? Okay. Right. I hope we are not. Okay, so Engineer Mukaila can go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me start by appreciating the organizer, our host, and the presenter of today's topic. Sincerely speaking, I have more interest in the topic because as a civil engineer, most of my own research work, a civil engineer and academia, most of my research work geared towards environmental sustainability, how we can turn waste to wealth. And the topic, is a very nice one. because one of the major problems today is what's called environmental pollution. And it's quite unfortunate that even within the society, we need more sensitization on it. I appreciate the video that you shared last, although I didn't notice the first one because I was driving. Going by the last video that you watched, I can say that it has really give what's called more concept. That is a brief video, but it has given more concept about what's it called environmental sustainability. If I should use Kwara as a case study, there are companies today that you see there on daily basis. We have a lot of gas emission, you understand, relating to CO2, carbon dioxide. And, we have quite a number of companies right there in Lagos. And today, let me just speak as in a perspective of an engineer. Going by companies that, that are into steel production, that's the steel that we use for construction work. Most of these companies, there are some waste that have been generated from these companies. And most of the challenges that we face is that even those of us in the academia, there are some materials that we've discovered that they are good materials that can lead to green concrete. Green concrete in the sense that the concrete that is sustainable and it is economically viable. But unfortunately, we find all these ways difficult to get from these companies. And in most cases, these wastes are being dumped, elsewhere, creating another problem. So unfortunately, at a point, even from, I think some months back, I raised that in one of our meetings in the Nigerian Society of Engineers, telling me that this is the right time that we need to engage Standard Organization of Nigeria, Nigerian Industrial Standard, that how could we have companies that generate waste, and some people have the opinion that come and return to wealth. But at the end of the day, you find it difficult getting it is. I must appreciate there's a company right here in your record in local rice production, the rice company. And as it is, I'm working on their waste material as a replacement. The idea to the community. In fact, Dr. Ayo, if you should see where these wastes are being dumped, sincerely speaking, you will pity the community, because we don't know what will happen in the next few years. There is no environment, there is no what's called environmental, would I say there's no agency that will have to control how the waste are being disposed. So at the end of the day, I really appreciate the company because they cooperate with me. I started that, I let them realize that this is an environmental threat. And finally, the company has acquired more land where they dump their waste on weekly basis, which they believe no one can challenge them. But as it is, we went into a form of, let me say, they came to the school, but sincerely speaking, there's no any seriousness between the school and the company. So I just have to took it up. Then I met them that come, don't worry, we can make use of this material, then we'll produce a sanctuary block, and it will be first of its kind in the what's called in the country. And at the same time, this is a waste material that after being dumped, during the rainy season now, you have some rivers and streams around that side. There are some villages that they depend on those water. So at the end of the day, there will be flood. If you have a flood or some kind of erosion, that will not lead, all these materials into the stream and river. So I think this is a very nice topic, which I particularly am more interested in it. And I believe, as Riley said, as a teamwork, there are things that we can work out within our community, aside from having a financial backup, which I believe there will be a period of time where at least the benefit will come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your insight and contribution. And one of the things I appreciate about that is that you are speaking from your, career point of view, and trying to use that to also be able to control the narrative and even engage and advise. The interesting thing is that while you are doing that to, for instance, and I can tell you for free that it's doable, you spotlight any organization around you, your environment, and you walk in there and you appear yourself, or you expose yourself like, look, I'm a ambassador, or you just even mention that, look, I'm an advocate of environmental sustainability, and I see that some of the things you have been doing as an organization is inimical to the environment, and that I'm not here to start raising issue to report of a threat, but I want to see how I can work with you, and I'm willing to do this for you pro bono. I tell you the honest truth, starting with that, and if they give you access, to start engaging with them along the line, there's no way they will not compensate your effort. It's as simple as that. Because sometimes, or most times, we go from the angle of trying to enforce ideas, of enforce law, policy, than trying to amend or solve problem. So I always advocate try to look from angle of problem solving. Don't also go from the angle of benefit. All right. But when you go, like he has said, he appears to them like he wants to help them solve problem. But I tell you, he won't tell us whether they have been giving him money or what they have been doing in exchange. Even if they don't give him money, that will be things they also want to give out in exchange. And it could be as simple or as easy as saying that, look, I have somebody that I know that's looking for employment. And that alone could have been one of the things you benefit. So we will discuss more about this and we'll see how it goes. So I'll take just one comment that I have here, and then I'll introduce Dr. Alex, and we go into the speaker session. All right. So okay. So he said, my name is Adebusui Adetujin, and he's he's saying that he wants to highlight, what I want to highlight is in the area of willingness of individual to do what is trying to mix something up here. What is right, I guess. Okay, so the area of willingness of individual to do what is needed, but we are faced with the challenges of legal framework by government. There are situations, cases of when, as a community, we try to do certain things to sustain our environment, but right from the local government agency all the way to the state level, there are unnecessary stumbling blocks in terms of law, rules, and regulation. All right. And okay, so rule and regulations. I would like to know what can be done to hasten the process, because no matter how much we try, the bureaucracy just make it nearly impossible and time wasting. Good, fantastic. We will look at this, but I'm sure by the time Dr. Alex also address us, you gain some insight. So once again, I want to thank you all and welcome everyone. And then permit me to introduce Dr. Alex, and then it will take us, and then we will come back to some discussion, around your question, and as well as some other interesting perspective to it. All right. So Dr. Alex, I want to be sure you are ready for us. The only award winner I know that has taken all the award when it comes to, environmental sustainability globally, internationally, and worldwide. So Alexandra Aigbe is the founder and CEO of Africa Initiative, Africa Clean Up Initiative, they call ACI, a non-for-profit organization poised towards raising environmental responsible citizens across Africa. He also holds an honorary doctorate degree from London Bridge Business School. Aigbe also runs a social enterprise known as Green Sustainable Solution, GSS. This is an initiative that is passionate about circular economy and empowering lives through incentive-based recycling. Alex Great, as is fondly called by close friends and associates through his organization ACI, has executed major cleanup initiatives across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, an edition of the African Cleanup Conference and awards in Lagos, Nigeria, Cape Coast, Ghana, Lome, Togo, Accra, Ghana, Lagos, Nigeria, Calabar, Nigeria, with delegates from different African countries in attendance. In 2018, Aigbe, through his organization ACI, launched the Recycle Pay Education Project, the first ever project in Africa that allows parents to pay the school fee of their children in low income in schools using recyclable such as pure water sachet, pens, and PET bottles. This was covered by CNN, BBC, Plus TV, Al Jazeera, and many other local and international media platforms. Alexandra the Great is currently an ambassador for peace and United Nations POLAC and a recognized member of International Solid Waste Association in Rotterdam, Netherlands. He is currently an honorable fellow of 4 organizations based on his commitment and dedication to professionalism in waste management and management consulting, having consulted for several organizations: Waste Management Society of Nigeria, Africa Institute of Public Administration Ghana, Professional Leadership Practitioner Institute and Institute of Management Consultant of Nigeria. Alex Great is an honorary member of World Safety Organization in America and a SAFER ambassador. He holds a CMC certificate from the International Council of Management Consulting Institute as a certified management consultant and a certified management specialist with distinction in time management from London Graduate School. Aigbe is a volunteer mentor with Faith Foundation, where the mentor entrepreneur on how they can grow and position their businesses for global impact. Aigbe is the author of the following book: Dare to Live Your Passion, Healthier Environment, My Goals, and the Green Advocate. Aigbe's passion for peace movement in the nation led him to serve as the country coordinator. That's for Nigeria, for Africa Peace Festival, and that was held in Ghana, where he led 10 delegates from Nigeria to attend the African Peace Festival in Ghana in 2012. He also led delegates from Nigeria to attend Let's Do It West Africa Cleanup Conference in Ghana in 2011 and West Africa Regional Cleanup Conference in Cotonou, Benin Republic in 2012. Alex Great has also been honored with following award. Now, this award, I will not leave here today. This is about 100 awards, and I'm sure you will pardon me to skip all of this award, but I will post this in the chat room so that we can read it and then we know what it's made of. But you know, the interesting part is that usually you not to mention the award, but let me just mention a few. Okay, so African Peace Award held in Ghana 2012 is an awardee of Reconciliation for Humanitarian Responsibility and Immense Contribution to Humanity 2013 by Life Changer Foundation. Service to Humanity Award at the Connect Conference 2012. Rotary Club of Ikoyi Award Excellent 2018. Certificate of our Service Award for Contribution to National Development, goals. Like I said, this award are numerous, and let me pardon us to skip it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Aigbe, as is blessed with an exceptional and amazing wife, and they are both blessed with lovely children. Let's welcome Dr. Alexandra Aigbe. Alex Great, you are welcome.
My Oga.
Yeah, welcome. We will need to see your video. Don't hide behind this because you are our speaker. You must, if you're on the bed, get out of the bed.
No, I will switch on my video for you to see that I'm not on bed. I'm moving the office, but I'll switch on the video back.
Okay.
I was in a meeting, and when I heard you reading my profile, I was like, no, my time is 12. What's happening?
It's 12 already.
My time was on my time. I had to tell the people to just please bear with me that I have a back. My camera is not very clear. I know it's happening.
Okay. Sorry.
My camera is not very clear. Is it a lens or something? We have to work on this camera.
Okay, so it's okay now.
So you can see I'm in the office. So at some point, so that I don't get distracted by the people that I'm engaged in coming to see me, I might switch off and switch on at some point.
That's
you can
okay.
see my face the next time, right?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
We can see.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much for having me this beautiful Saturday morning. And I'm always excited to share from the little knowledge and experience that I've gathered over the years working as a nation builder and advocate for a clean and healthy environment. And so for me, this journey started this journey or this space in the environmental space started sometime in 2009, and it all came up more like what I call it, the passion that just hit me from somewhere for the environment. Before that, 2009, I've been working with young people doing a lot of stuff on leadership and purpose and all of that. But in 2009, I got the nudge to do something for the environment. And from that point till now, it has been from one level to another, and God has been faithful, that I would say. And coming here just for me to share my story as well and see how I can also connect it to the subject matter for the day, which is the role of individuals in environmental sustainability. And I'm so glad that I'm not talking from the place of the government. I am not in that capacity for now, but I'm talking the place of an individual like yourself and myself, what we can do to make the environment a cleaner and healthier place for everybody. And sincerely speaking, I know we have the 17 SDG goals, 17 of them beautiful goals, but I love the number 6 so much. I always see number 6 as the connecting dots to all the goals. And number 6 talks about the clean environment. No matter the goal that you have pursuing, if the environment is not clean, it's not safe, it's not healthy, it will be difficult to a large extent for you and I to achieve our goal. And I want to believe that God helping us, that as long as we put in so much energy to make sure the environment comes out great, they will also start to benefit from it. I have a very simple quoted quote I used to share. I always share whenever I talk about the environment, and that is: the environment is God's gift to man. What we do with it is our gift to humanity. The environment is God's gift to man. What we do with it is our own gift to humanity. God has given us the environment when we didn't pay for it, and what we do with it, how we take care of it, it's our own gift to our fellow humans. It's very, very important that you don't just live in the environment that we live just because of yourself and family alone. You are concerned about the larger picture. You are concerned, what am I doing today? Hope it's not going to affect those around me. Hope it's not going to affect those coming after me. And that's where the idea of sustainability comes into play. For sustainability, it's just simply what you're doing today with the consciousness of ensuring that you don't have any impact, probably a negative impact on those coming after you. So you want to be sure that you're living a sustainable lifestyle. You're not just living large, but you ensure you're living sustainably to ensure that your activities, your actions are well channeled towards the right thing. And now, individuals like yourself, like myself, we have a whole lot to play when it comes to nation building, when it comes to development. It's not left for a particular set of people alone. Everybody, no matter how small, we all have a part to play. Whenever I'm talking about input from the individual perspective, I like telling this story, very short story. It has to do with a musical team. We were going to perform the musical team. And in that musical team, they have the bassist, they have person that plays the keyboard, the drum set, and there's another instrument called the piccolo. Some of us will know what the piccolo is. Piccolo is that small, like a wooden something with a stick. You do like a small stick. You just use and make sound like that. So there's a guy that plays that piccolo. A powerful, wonderful musical team. Whenever they go out to perform, their performance is always top notch. They will give them wonderful accolades, celebration. They're like, "Oh, you guys did powerfully well." They will blow them out. They'll be so happy, and they will come back. You understand? And whenever they are praising them like that, most of the people are quick to mention, the guy that played at your keyboard, the guy is exceptional, powerful. The guy that played that bass, basis, oh, awesome. You understand? They will mention different instruments most time because the piccolo is very small. Most of the people don't actually mention the person that plays the piccolo because they are not careful. Piccolo most time is not being recognized in the team because he plays a smaller kind of instrument. And so the guy that always played that piccolo, he got to a point, he got into him that, it's like, I'm not even felt in this band. It's like my presence does not make any sense. Like nobody even recognize me. Nobody even look at me. They feel, I beg you, I'm not important. You know that kind of feeling because nobody talks about you. And that's how it is because people are not mentioning your name. Because people are not picking on you. Does not mean you should stop taking care of them. Right? You might be the only one in your compound that gathers everybody together for sanitation. It might be the one that ensures that the bin is properly taken care of in the whole neighborhood. And nobody cares to talk about it. Nobody's even following up. Nobody's even telling you thank you. Please don't be discouraged. I beg you, don't be discouraged. All those things you are doing, they're like seeds you're sowing. And whether the devil likes it or not, there will be a time for harvest. And the harvest will come. It's God that determines how the harvest is going to be. So please don't get discouraged. So the Piccolo guy was discouraged. And so he said to himself, probably, I'm no longer needed in the team. That's what he said to himself. All of this conversation was going on in his head, and he didn't even share with anybody. He just kept it to himself. And so they had another show to go and perform the same musical team. And the guy said, I am not going to show up. I'm not going to show up. And sincerely, the guy did not show up. And the guy that was singing, leading the band, was struggling with his performance, especially when he wants to switch from one music song to another one. It was like a whole lot of struggle was going on with the inside of him. He find it very difficult to flow easily. And after the whole show, he just felt that something's not right. What happened to our performance today? What happened? What happened? What happened? He was asking his team member, what happened? What happened? What happened? And they were like, we don't know, we don't know. And they now checked around and they noticed that the guy that played the piccolo was nowhere to be found. And they now said, wow, now I see where the gap is. Now I see why the whole struggle on that stage, that was difficult for me to connect. That piccolo guy has a way of using that his piccolo to help you, especially when he wants to switch from one song. The guy has a way of connecting with his own sound. And he wasn't there. There was a gap, and that was where they had to reach out to him, and he came back. But then the guy launched this message that was like, please never feel that you're not important in the team. I remember the topic I'm talking about is the role of individual as a person in the environmental sustainability. That's why I just had to share that just to lay the foundation. So we understand that we all have a whole lot of parts to play when it comes to keeping the environment clean and making it healthy for everyone. Yes, our actions can there are so many arrows from arrow the three. We used to have the three arrows in the past, but now a whole lot have summed up to all of that. You have up to 7, 8, 9, all of that. But then the most important thing is whichever one action you're taking, be intentional about it. I'll say it again. Whichever action, whatever action you're taking for the environment, please be intentional about it. Do it from the place of intentionality. Intentionality is just the key word there. Because if you want to keep the environment clean, you're not intentional about it, somebody will talk you out of it. Somebody will just say something to you, you just feel so bad that you abandon that your desire to keep a clean and healthy environment. For me, today, we do a lot of projects in our organization, but we didn't get to this point overnight. It's taken, like I said, we started in 2009. From 2009 to 2020, what are we now, 2023, right? That's like how many years now? Close to like 14 years. We have been on this tax non-stop every month, every year. There's no year we went on break. When we started more like a passion. We're not even registered with CAC. Not that we had a company set up. No, we just started out doing it. And the passion kept moving. And we got registered and we still continue going. So it was from the place of intentionality. So if you choose to, and like I tell people a lot, you don't need to run an NGO or you don't need to float a company for you to be passionate, for you to give back to the environment. You don't need all of that. If you don't have the time, you don't have the passion for it, you can just do what I like to say, volunteer. Doctor spoke initially while he was talking about how we've done some things together, how he had volunteered for so many organizations. Volunteerism is something that it's just imbued. It gives you this kind of fulfillment that money cannot even give you if you are passionate about what you're doing. So volunteerism is something that I always advocate for to a large extent. If you don't even need to have the time, you make out the time for it. Let me say that again. Volunteerism, you don't need to have the time. You make out the time for it. Because sometimes some people will think, I don't have the time. That's why I'm not showing up for that event. Nobody ever have the time. As I just told you, what I mean, the people I'm speaking with, they are waiting for me in the conference room in my office. I have to take out 30 minutes of their time to do this. Once I'm done, I'm going back to meet them again in the meeting. I just ask them to give me 30. Nobody have the time, but we make out time for something that is so dear to our heart, something that we want to do that will have a positive impact on the environment. So volunteer, recycle. Let me speak from the angle of recycle because fine. Recycling is going to start from. I'm talking about the things we can do as individuals to keep to ensure a clean and healthy environment, which might call environmental sustainability. So recycle. Everybody, for me, should be an advocate of recycling. Everybody should be an advocate of recycling. There was a time Lagos State was pushing, as Loma, we were pushing so hard on sorting your waste from source, sorting your waste from home, ensuring that you don't gather all your waste together and give it to the PSP guy. No, we should learn to separate. And over the years, some of us grew up with this consciousness that it is only those that like the poor people that separate their waste. Like the poor people are those that don't place much value just because they need to make money for themselves. That's why they are keeping all of that. No, we're not doing it because of the money. We're doing it because of the law we have for the environment. And so in my house, I have a bin where I keep all the PET bottles. Even my kids, they know. Even my 3-year-old boy, he knows that the PET bottles don't go into the trash bag that is meant for other kind of waste. The pure water sachet don't go to where we keep our PET bottle. Everybody knows. I have 3 different sets of place I keep my waste at home. Pure water sachet have his own bag, PET bottle has his own, and the other waste from the kitchen, other ones, they also have their own waste. I do that at home. I do it because I know the value, the importance it is to our environment. So this is a kind of consciousness everybody needs to have at the end of the day, because the people that we come for the pure water sachet and the PET bottle, they are different from those that we come for the other kind of waste, the organic waste and the ones we generate from your kitchen. They are different. So you don't mix all of them. If you mix them together, they all end up at the dump site, and that's another huge work for us again. So it's important that as an individual, let's learn to sort our waste, learn to bag them differently, and let's learn to patronize. If you're in Lagos and you don't know the recycler to work within your location, if I know your location, you could share with me after this conversation. I will find a recycler that is close to you and probably connect you with them. They can come for your PET bottles and pure water sachet and any kind of recyclables that you have. Then you cannot give your solid waste to the PSP. That makes it easier for you. Now, that's another one. Reuse is another thing that's also very, very good. I'm telling you, it's not this idea of everywhere you go, you buy bottled water. Most of the time, you don't just use it and you just dispose it. And you can have a water bottle. You can always carry along your water in it. When it's empty, you use it to take another one. It makes it easier. You don't dispose. You don't use a whole lot of items that will end up at the dump site. So you tend to reuse some of the things that you have. There are times you might just have a bag you take for a shopping mall. There are times I go outside, I want to buy something, they will add so many that I tell them I don't need this, I don't need it. They just give me the thing, I put it in the car like that, I'm fine. And we can have a bag you take along with you. When you go, you put your items into it and you take them back and all of that. It makes a whole lot of sense. You reuse as much as you can. Some of this waste we generate from our kitchen, if you have a garden in your home, fantastic. If you have a garden in your compound, beautiful, some of these organic waste, just put them there. Over time, they'll turn to compost for you. And those your powerful plants and all of that, they start coming up. So it's a whole lot that we can do. Another thing that's also very, very helpful for us is let's also learn to put our voice to some of these things. Let's learn to give our voice to some of these things that we see around. Let's talk about it. Don't be somebody that sees and turn your eyes away. It doesn't concern me. Please, I beg you, one day it will concern you. Because if you think that because somebody in the next compound is doing it, it's not in your compound, the day it will affect him, cares don't take it, will also affect you living in the next compound. Some of this flood we see in the community whenever it rains, is as a result of blockage of drainage at some of this point. And some of this blockage, if you check very well, you will see a lot of PET bottles inside. And so nobody cares. Somebody is driving, we just take gala, take pure, and just send it out from the car. That's bad. You are in the same vehicle. If you enter public bus like me, once in a while, you go with the public bus, you will see somebody take something. They feel it's okay for them to send it out of the vehicle and put it inside the vehicle. Even the conductor, some like, why do you think it's better outside than inside? If you put it inside the vehicle, at the end of the day, you can gather them together and take it to the right place. When you send it out of the vehicle, it gets into the gutter and it blocks that drainage. At the end of the day, people living in the whole community will just suffer for it. So we need to keep talking and keep talking. If that's the only thing you can do as an advocacy, your mouth, your voice for the environment, you have done so much. If that's the only thing you can do in your compound, in your church, in your school, you live, they know you as one that always puts out his voice, as one leader, always speak up whenever you do the wrong thing that affects the environment. That's a good brand for you. It shows that you are putting in so much towards ensuring a clean and healthy environment for everybody. The environment belongs to every one of us. Somebody was sharing a story with me one time. He said in the US that in a particular community that people take responsibility to ensure that a particular zone is actually maintained and kept clean all the time. It's like their own responsibility, individual, not the government. Individual, they just tell me this next 2-3 compounds, this location in this place is my responsibility, and nobody litters it, and it's always kept clean all the time. So that's kind of mindset is something that we need to adopt. So where you live in your neighborhood, they should know you as somebody that is paying attention to the environment. It starts from home. Your kids, your wife, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, then extend to the outside, because you cannot give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. Choose a sustainable lifestyle. Don't buy things you don't need because you want to show. Doesn't make any sense. It's not sustainable. It's not healthy. Because at the end of the day, you keep buying, you keep buying, you keep buying, and you keep buying. You might check that some things you have not, some clothes you've not worn for like 1 year. There's some clothes you have not worn for like 2 years. Probably you could give it out to somebody else that needs them. We should avoid waste as much as we can. It's a whole lot. We can avoid waste. Another part that actually touches me so much, it's some people that for them, whenever it's raining, that's always the best time for them to dump their waste into the gutter. They just have this mindset that, oh, thank God the rain is coming. The water will just carry it from here and take it somewhere that they don't even know. Forgetting that there's nothing like there's nothing like a way at all. There's nothing like somewhere. It's going to come back to meet you. In computer, we call it GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. What you put out there comes back to haunt you. So we need to always go, keep advocating, keep talking to people and letting them know that a whole lot of expectation is on our shoulder if we must keep a very, very clean and healthy environment and live a sustainable lifestyle. Burning of waste is another thing that should not be encouraged. Burning of waste, because of this whole high cost of waste disposal, probably in Lagos and some other place, some people just think the shortcut now is, let me gather the waste together and just set fire on it, and that's the end. Please, I beg you, that's not sustainable. For the fact that it's going to affect our ozone layer, the kind of thick carbon that comes out from that smoke that you're burning, the danger to human lives alone, not to talk of plants, is not something you would love to be part of. So please, let's avoid it as much as you can. Anywhere you see them burning, tell them to stop it. Some of them might not know what they are doing. They just want to find a way to dispose their waste, but it's not sustainable. What is not sustainable, we should not be part of it at all, at all. Another thing that's also very key is we should learn to plant as much trees as we can. I know we have one global, national, even Lagos State have a tree planting day. Beyond all of that, if you have the opportunity to have your own facility, you live in your own house, or you can plant as much as you can. I know of a man that lives very close to my house. That man should be going to like 80 or 85. But when you see him every day, comes out and take a walk, you will admire this guy. The house he lives is like a bungalow, but everywhere in that house is filled up with trees, even like covered. Tell me why he won't live long. He will breathe nice kind of air. The environment alone will smell good. The look, everything will have a way of going to tell on his body. I will live long now. That's why most times those in the village, they do the right thing. Some of them live as much as 1995. You understand? And they're happy. So all of these things are what we should be concerned about as individuals. In your office, where you work, you guys have plan for waste management. What's your waste management plan? That should be another thing you should look. How do you do? You should be concerned about how you dispose your waste in your office. That should call for like you want to know, just to have this knowledge, have feeling that you're doing it the right way. If you're not doing it the right way, you can reach out for people that can guide you or tell you what to do. Then you take it back to your management. It surely shows your concern about the environment, but it belongs to every one of us. Don't leave the issue of the waste management to the environment, to the logistics, or to one HR, or to someone department alone, facility manager. No, be concerned. Just know. No, at the end of the day, the waste we generate in this office, how do we dispose them? Do we put them together? Do you separate it? Ask questions. Show concern. The name of our organization is known as African Cleanup Initiative. Dr. mentioned it initially. There's one project we run, which is called the Recycle Space Educational Project. That project was actually designed to help out-of-school children and also support kids that are in low-income schools. To stay in school to learn, support them with textbooks, support them with uniform, support them with school standard. Because what we do is simply we tell the parents of those kids, give your bottles, give your recyclables to us, and in exchange for your school fees, or in exchange for textbook, or in exchange for school, whatever you need for your child to stay in school, we will give them in exchange for your recyclables. And when we launched it in 2019, it was covered by the CNN, it was covered by BBC, it was covered by Al Jazeera, a whole lot of national newspaper. Even DW, the German news, did an interview a few weeks ago. Coming out, there's a whole lot of. You just go to the internet, go on your Google, type pay school fees with plastic bottle, or you type recycle space, which is the name of the project. You will have a whole lot of stories to read. The schools we have worked with, you will see them there. The more details about the project, you'll find it on the internet. Recycle space or pay school fees with plastic bottles. You will find it there. One of the ways we have been sustaining that project now. When we launched in 2019, we got Coca-Cola Foundation from the US to come and support us, and we scale up to like over 50 schools that we went into because of the support we got from Coca-Cola Foundation from the US. And it's just a project, just one project, and outside the over 10 different projects that we run in our organization. That has brought a lot of relief, comfort, a lot of people using waste to solve a lot of social problems in the community. So the whole lot, and what we're doing currently now to sustain the project is organizations are signing up with us to give us their bottles, like want to support this project. They started to sort their waste. So when they sort their waste, they recycle the PET bottles, they can, the pure tester will come and carry them from there, or they will give it to us. And in turn, just to support, and that's how we've been using to sustain this project for a while now. So you can decide to say, okay, fine, I don't need the money from the recyclables, but I want to be part of a good cause. Oh, I guess my time is running out. That signal I'm getting from the background. So you could just say you want to
continue.
I was so sure that not problem. Oh, fantastic. So you could just decide to say you want to be part of this initiative by supporting it with your recyclable. That over the time we can decide to give you an award or a plate like an ambassador for a clean and healthy environment. That speaks volume to you as an individual. Money cannot buy that one, but it's what you're giving back, what you're doing for Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is only simply rewarding you for your acts, for your activity, for your hard work. So it's very important that we all take the issues of the environment very serious. We cannot afford to leave it for a particular set of people. No, if flooding comes, the last flooding we experienced last year, I pray it doesn't happen again, but we're not careful, it will happen again because we have this kind of nonchalant attitude towards the environment. Nobody cares. We're only waiting for something to happen. They will not start running around, to kind of to find a solution to it. Why not sit down, look at it ahead of our dams are not properly, we don't even have any dam at all. If the same kind of flood that happened the last that happens again, and oh my God, I pray it doesn't happen because there are a lot of properties went, a whole lot of houses went, and in fact, God will help us. But then, if everybody is concerned, from the government to the local government chairman to those in charge of government and the government agency to the engineer, everybody is talking, everybody is doing something. The lands are doing something. Look at the house where you live. Do you even have a drainage in front of you? Look at the connection points in your neighborhood. What's the connection, how is the free flow of water from this point to another? Ask questions. There's some community that they have estate landlord, they have estate chairman. Ask questions to voice into this thing, because this is something that affects everybody. We're talking about the role of individuals. We all have a part to play. So this is how serious this issue can be, because we don't want any devastating effect on anybody, even our own child. We want them to live in a clean and healthy environment. So these are some of the things we can do. There are a whole lot when it comes to individual, the role of individuals when it comes to environmental sustainability, how we can create a clean and healthy environment. There's another project we run in our organization called the Clean for Impact. Clean for Impact, the way it's been designed is we design it to work with corporate organizations. And corporate organizations, in a sense that want to engage their staff as a volunteer for a cleanup exercise. We don't just want to work with general volunteer. For example, when we did it with the US Embassy in Lagos, I think it was in 2020, virtually 70% of them that worked in the UN Embassy, they joined us to clean that water quarantine up to their car park. We all did all of that together. It makes a whole lot of sense. But what we're trying to do is to tell people that beyond the fact that you are making money, you're doing business, you're also part of a positive change in the community where you do your business. That's the way the Clean for Impact is being designed. When we did it with TVC News Media, we went to a market at Ikosiketu, the fruit market. We cleaned that market, that entire community. Staff of TVC, they came around, everybody would join, and few volunteers from my end also joined. It made a whole lot of impact. Last 2 weeks, we went to Nero Beach. We did it with KPMG. You know KPMG now. Their team, their staff, they all came out. We did the clean of the beach together with them, and it made a whole lot of sense. Last Saturday, we went with Polaris Bank. We went to Elegushi Beach. We did it with the staff. Over 40 of their staff came around. We cleaned Elegushi Beach together. It made a whole lot of sense. And so several organizations like that, this one is tailored to work with your staff. So we want them to have this feeling. You know, everybody needs to give back now. So you will pick a day that is convenient for you. ACI will work with you on that day and we will deliver. So you want everybody to be part of the solution when it comes to the issue that affects the environment. So we don't want this excuse of I'm working, I don't have time. We'll partner with your office. You will take a day, all your team, all your volunteers, your staff will come out as volunteers. We'll do the job. Maybe those that work in one, you just choose anywhere you want to choose that's close to your office or anywhere. I will do this thing together. It makes a lot of impact. You can have an association where you have members. We'll partner with you. We'll come and choose a place. All your members will show up. We'll do the things. Just giving back. Everybody be part of this movement. What we did with Wordpress a few years back was Dr. Yemi that led that team. We brought a whole lot of them. We went to Mushi, and I think when we did one before, we did the one of Mushi, and several other one we've worked with them. So everybody needs to be part of this thing, because the environment belongs to all of us. Wow. I hope at this point I've not been able to confuse you further, please. But I'm able to make my point very clear that we all have a part to play when it comes to keeping the environment clean. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Papa, peace out.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. This is what you do, and I know you do very well. Thank you so much. We appreciate your, your contribution this morning. I'm sure a lot of us has, gotten a lot of information or what have you from this discussion, and I know that we are also have our own ideas to see how we can advance this discussion, really. And the beautiful thing is that we are all in this together, and that's what I always want us to have at the back of our mind. Dr. Alex has spoken from the angle of individual involvement, responsibility when it comes to the environmental sustainability. Two perspectives we are looking at this morning is or maybe three, is the corporate, which is the corporate organization, the individual, and then the government. But like I said earlier, we've always talked about the aspect of government. And three things basically the government is responsible for is the policy, the enable environment, all right, and then possibly the enforcement, okay? But for us as individual, it is the, as corporate organization, maybe perhaps is the reality of our, the impact, all right? The impact of the activity of the corporate environment. We need to understand that. And then again, we see that of the corporate organization, individual, the corporate government, yeah, corporate organization, because the belief is that, oh, they are creating job, all right? Yeah, but in the midst of creating job, you also don't create the debt trap, so to say. And then Dr. Alex has emphasized the individual role. Our second speaker has not joined us. I think that she has actually put a word across that she may be running very late because of emergency that happened in her office. And then she's a top leader, and then she oversees Africa. So she may have been on journey out of Nigeria, but I'm sure it's someone that really loves to be here because she's also doing a lot in that space. But I will speak very quickly, and then we will come to the interactive session, and then we wrap it up. I'll just try to take like 10, 20 minutes to emphasize the role of the corporate organization, especially because Dr. Alex has spoken about the individual role. So Dr. Alex, just spare like another 15 minutes, and then we can be able to have your question, because I know people have questions on things you have said. But I will quickly throw some highlight, some point on the corporate, individual. And I've attacked it as a corporate Nigeria, and I said they play a vital role, all right, in promoting the environment sustainability, because why? They do business. They are business-oriented organization. They are for business, right? And then when you make your money, or when you do your business, it's also important for you to know that the environment is kept safe, and the people in the environment are also kept safe. All right. So, but what we have experienced in Nigeria, especially for example, is the fact that a lot of corporate organizations are seemingly protected by the government. All right. So they take advantage of the environment. They take advantage of the people. They have not been corporately responsible, even when a lot of them say that we do what we call corporate responsibility, social responsibility. But the reality between you and I, even from where you are, your own environment where you are, you can spot 1 million things that some certain organizations are done and are not done well. I will say example of a recent activity that has really seems to be going on around the country, and that has to be the maybe you call it mining. All right. Okay. I will say this example of information I gathered from my own hometown, and my sibling had got wind, and then they called me that, look, there are this miner that have been approved by government, and then so we have a very wide open land behind my father's house in our hometown, which is actually owned by us and some other family. Now, but that land has been abandoned, not abandoned. We have not used it for a lot of years because there is this log of waters. I mean, that's the water that has invaded the place. It's become like a swamp, and so. But over the years too, because of the effort of things that have been done in terms of drainage, eventually the water will get away. So the land is still there, had not been used. Now, if you have an idea of my state, it's Osun State, and Ilesha in particular, it's called the Gold City. So because there's a lot of gold in Ilesha, in Osun State, now these people have been going around from villages, from town, evacuating golds and all of that. So they spoil that there's a gold behind my father's house. Now, don't come and call me, I trade in gold. I don't have the access to it, now. But because they got wind, I know the way things wrong. Like I said, they are individual register or business organization. They got approval from the government. Now they have notified everybody in that area they are coming for to excavate those gold. Now the implication is that the houses in that area obviously be affected. Now it may not happen right now, but in another 5, 10, 20 years, you might find out that the houses are collapsing because a lot of things have been done underneath the close by environment. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying it because I want to justify or buttress further the corporate organization and be aided by government. And this is having a lot of impact. All right. Now, again, if you look at your environment, you realize that some of the challenges we are having with even in Lagos State, I'm a Lagosian, so I'm born in Lagos, every of my life in Lagos. Now, I remember when we were growing up, we used to visit, Lekki side for beach. The major activity in those years is that we go there festive period for beach. And that's why we have some of the oldest beach, Lekko beach, and some of the oldest beach in those days. Now, when you were driving past all those things, you just look at some bushes and all of that. Now, the government started to do sand filling. Private organizations start buying, and a lot of estates start springing up in Lekki and in all those axes. Right now, the worst part of Lagos, when it rains, is still just the most expensive part of Lagos. It's also the most dangerous part of Lagos that experiences all those waterlogged and what have you. Now, what am I saying? These are private organizations that go there, erect buildings without making proper provisions, all right, for drainage, for everything. And like if you had the engineer Mukala said the other time, as a engineer and in terms of construction. So a lot of these damages are affected, are caused by so many corporate organizations aided by the government. And then if we don't speak out, you will realize that all of us will be affected eventually, because when it happens, whether you are in that neighborhood or not, the far-reaching effect will get to you. And that is why we must begin to speak out. And that is why we must begin to emphasize. And that's why we must be able to, like Dr. Elias has said, as people within our locality, we can form what we call corps. That we call, in our environment, we have security committee. Some of us are saving estate. We have the estate bringing up security, whatever committee and what have you. We need to also start creating committees or corps or group of people that will say we are here because of environment management, environment sustainability. Because if we as people do not rise to this responsibility, the government is taking us for granted, the corporate organization is taking us for granted. You know what the corporate organizations do? And I will tell you, like from my experience and where I work with organizations, when they come to any locality, they try to identify the people in that locality, they settle them. They settle you with the employment, they settle you by giving some of your CDAs. Some of the CDAs, the leaders in the community are really corporate of this. They give them money. When they give them money, then the organization has the liberty to do all sorts of things. I remember where I live in Surulere, I took up the CDA leaders. Something happened. A road had been there for over 10 years. Government had paid money for that construction. It was not done. Now, when that construction was going to be done, they, of course, were given to a private entity, and they started doing all sorts of things rubbish. And I would take them up. And I said to them, look, you, the SCDA leaders, are the one causing problem. Because why? You leaders are not speaking out because you have collected money. They took me up. I said, I stand with them. I said, look, I'm going to say it. And I said, I don't need to have evidence. If you are leaders and this construction is being done, and we can see it, a construction that has been done that is causing more problem. A construction that has been done that just after 2 days of putting tiles on it, you see the space open up again. And when I started doing that, it become, and I went as far as, you want to call it threat, stop to threat to the local government chairman. I said, look, I know you will come for another election, but I'm going to start with some people now. We're going to do rally. I'm going to go to the newspaper. I'm going to spend my money. Because eventually, I saw some openings on the road. And I saw that so many cars are beginning to, get themselves, into that ditch. And a lot of even young children around the school children are falling into that ditch. And the local government is there. And this is a road that was just constructed barely 1 month. When I said that, within 1 week, you saw them bringing all kind of equipment to that location. Now, what am I saying? I am not a special breed. Yes, our environment is volatile. You might say I'm risking my life, but the truth is that, why won't I say it? Because already, the risk is already there. When I speak out, the risk is there. So speaking will make them more conscious or make more people conscious that, look, these people are taking advantage of us. Now, so once you are a corporate organization, you are making money. You are running business. The people around that location should not keep quiet. Not because you feel, oh, they brought employment. They couldn't bring employment and then come again to go to killing people. So these are subtle things we need to do. One, what are the things that we can do, that can get more results? Like I've highlighted something. I say some of the things that we can do that can get us to achieve a safer and greener, society. I said that transition to renewable energy. We have said this over time. A lot of people are walking around that circle, but there's need to intensify effort in that. All right, we need to intensify as a government, as a corporate organization. There's need for us to, and if it is going to be achievable, the government policy must be there, the enabling environment must be there. There must be that accountability. All right. Again, I said we need to go to energy efficiency. All right, because it's also important. The more energy we explore, the things we burn. All right, especially in a part of the country where everybody has to source for their own, energy. It's a challenge for us. So we need to see how we can, because it reduces that's why the impact of our life expectancy rate is reduced because of the things, carbon monoxide, the things we consume as people. Unfortunately, we don't get to fall sick as Africans on time because we feel that we are strong and we take a lot of things. But this thing happens by the time we're getting older. Some of this ailment begins to show up. And that's why the life expectancy rate is reduced. Unfortunately, we also don't have a good health system. So these are multiplier effect. The little things that happen has an impact. All right. And then I talk about our sustainable transportation. Of course, yes, I'm sure even right now in your environment, if you go outside of your house and stand by the road, you will count about not less than 10 within an hour, the kind of vehicles that are blowing out, carbon and blowing out all sorts of things and noise. All right. We can see it. Then waste management, Dr. Alex has spoken a lot about that. All right. In developed world, it's not until somebody come and push. In fact, the government, the policy is there, the enforcement is there. You're not going to go scot-free with it. And it's about your life. Even if you don't do it, the people in your neighborhood will speak out. They will report you. So we can't but to be more conscious about that. And I say conservation of natural resources. Okay. I mean, planting tree, making plants around our neighborhood, that's its own impact. All right, because what we breathe, what we inhale also matters. So we need to be conscious of that. All right. Then sustainable agriculture too is very important for us because that also will help us leading to food. All right. Africa is still blessed, especially Nigeria. We are still favored because most of our produce are organic. Even though we are also beginning to go the path of having to do with chemical produce and what have you. But in the developed world, most of the produce are chemicalized. So we see, of course, and you will ask yourself, they still stay longer or live longer than most of us. Their expectancy rate is too high, or because of other things that are also being able to put in place. But for us, we must begin to be more conscious, and technology has brought a lot of ideas and it's affecting a lot of things and how we do things. So we need to be more conscious. And then again, I said that the last one I would draw. Oh no, not last one. But the seventh one will be education and awareness, and that's what we are doing now. Because when you'll be able to pass information, the next person pass to the next person, and that is what we stand for. And that's what this idea about this organization, the Partner in Sustainable Development. We want to talk about education and advocacy. That's what we want to do. All right, and we're going to partner with different organizations to achieve this. Of course, we're going to still do some local community projects with Dr. Alex organization, and then we'll talk. Some of us going to have to represent us on the TV, on the radio. I'm already working on that, and we're going to have some social media platform. At least every day, just drop a word, just one word on any area of this SDG. We go a long way. Don't worry, because sometimes some of these things you don't need crowd. I mean, on our platform, we have over 300 or thereabout. But of course, how many of us are here? And I'm not moved by numbers. I'm moved by the people that understand what we want to do, and we move with it. And like I said, profit compensation will come. How it's going to come, I can define it. But what I know is that you understand what we want to do, and we all go all out for it. All right? Because we are saving life. We are lifesaver. Because when we're able to speak to some of these things that happen in our life, we are lifesavers. And then the next one I also want to say is what I call the policy and regulation. Look, we're going to force government to take some actions because we're going to write them. We're going to also say it out. Some of these things that government hated that are affecting lives, we're going to speak it out. And then when we do that, of course, yes, they will be, their attention will be gotten, and then they will see. Like I said, we're going to collaborate and partners. There are some of these that can also help us to keep a saner environment, and then finally the research aspect of it. Because again, the more you know, the more you can say. What you don't know, you can't tell. You don't know. Since I begin to embrace this initiative, I'm also beginning to see so many things, and I realize that you see, it's not about the renewable energy alone. It's not about the climate change alone. There are many more things that we can do. Do you know that part of the things we can use that is that can be personal? So many of us have like 10 children, 5 children, 100 children. Do you know the implication of that when it comes to environmental sustainability? And that you just children, yes. Because when you have them, and you cannot take good care of them, they will contribute. Our children will not be nuisance to community. And some of the people you see around that they bear these children and they cannot take care of them, there's a way they contribute to the damage of the society. Because imagine, we read in the newspaper that the second Niger bridge that was just constructed and opened up a few months ago, some people went there and cut away some element there. Now, so I feel some of those people too. Yes, the environment is tough. The government's policy we have the poverty index very high. But why, like Alex said, what you don't need to buy. Why should you give back to the number of children that you cannot take care of, your finances cannot take care of? They will become something else to society. So you are contributing to the economic, environmental sustainability. That's the thing, as it is. Now, so we're going to look at so many things that seem to be petty, but they can have impact on our environment. And that are the things I feel I want to drop with all this morning. Okay, so and then we'll take the conversation, right from there. Like I said, these are the things the corporate organization need to do. The corporate organization need to sponsor people for research. We need to take them to account. Because why? I'm afraid. It's a continual fear for me. I can build houses in Lekki. I can rent it out, but I'm not sure I want to live there. Because I don't know when and where anything will happen. And I'm not, I'm not saying things will happen. But because each time I drive that route, I see that this is a prime area, expensive area, including your Banana Island area. But I see a lot of water on the road. When it rains, it's always a problem. So why should I use my money to buy things that will not give me peace of mind? I can't sleep. Many of them, even friends that have houses there, when it rains, some of them move from the ground floor to the upper floor because of rain. And government is not doing enough. So I'm always afraid as an individual. Okay, so these are things, again, our investment. Where do we invest our resources? These are things that we need to engage our mind. And that's why we need to take an average corporate organization. If you see a construction going on in your environment, you can walk there and assess the environment to look at whether they are conforming to some basic environmental principles. And if they are not, you can call the attention of because they are business organizations. Your emission of your monoxide is not being the noise of the pollution. You can speak out. A lot of people have gone deaf because of noise in our environment. And a lot of us will keep quiet. Now, if we had a noise from the church or the mosque, we will raise our eyebrow. But when we hear from corporate organizations that are making money, then we will keep quiet. No, we must speak out to protect our environment. So these are the things I believe we are going to do, and these are the things that we need to bring to table and form our narrative and discussion, moving forward. So thank you. I think I'm going to drop my own contribution from that point of view, and then we will open the floor. I think Dr. Alex, I had to jump out for another meeting, but now we're starting. We still have the conversation, and then if you have any tough part of it, we will send it to him, and then he will share his, So the floor is open right now for our contribution. What do you think? What do you, your own opinion? How do you think we can actualize and be an advocate? And then, of course, like I said, we have a platform. We are going to have our leadership on that platform, and then from there on, we start, getting our voice out. In as many opportunity we can get to speak. Some of us are going to obviously represent us on radio, TV station to speak, and every one of us is going to make a statement, and then we're going to post it and make it go viral so people can know that, look, there's need for us to be more conscious about the things that happen in our environment. So thank you. All right, the floor is open. You can raise your hand, or you can, unmute your mic. But maybe we'll start with the previous contribution from one of us that has asked a question that the government policy and not making it easy for for actualizing some of the things. And I think that was that question came from Adigbuyi, if I'm right. I want to believe he's still here.
Yes, Dr. Ayo. The name is Ruteran Adebusuyi Adetunji.
Okay. Do you want to shed more light on what you are saying, or what's your
Yes,
concern?
very much. Very much so. I'm aware, of course, I'm sure you have not forgotten your experience in motion.
Yeah, of course, yes.
And you know what what the environment is.
Yeah, of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Yes. And so I personally, I stand against so many things in my community, and I have become some sort of a thorn in the flesh of so many.
Yeah.
I walk around and then they look at me as the person who is not allowing them to survive.
Yeah.
I see it as a nuisance when you now decide you want to start selling your wares on the walkway. It's called the walkway. And the essence of a walkway is for security, safety of pedestrians.
Yeah.
It is to forestall accidents and all sorts. But you see, in the same vein that I am making so much noise, we have countless letters that has been written to the local government authority. We have that has been sent to Alausa, concerning this environmental nuisance and, all of that. And I can tell you as a matter of fact that it took about almost a month and a half to get some form of response from Alausa. And when I eventually got the response, I was asked to bring about 350,000 naira for them to mobilize to come and clear up the rubbish. This was about 2 or 3 years ago.
Imagine.
Now it has become worse because individuals also don't even understand the need for them to secure the environment, the need for them to live in, a sane environment. Majority of the people who own properties have sold it to for commercial use.
Yeah.
Up and down now, you have tire dealers and all of them selling. So the longer, the longer short of it is this: we make concerted efforts to get the government to support, because by the time we take it up on our own, it's going to become a little bit confrontational because of the nature of the environment. You have touts who are making money from them and all those kind of things.
Sure.
So now, like you rightly said, government has aided somehow, because the government has also turned a blind eye to what is happening, and they pass through all these areas. But because it is their cronies who put them in office that's running this racket, they will look away.
Of course.
You get the point now. So we've written several letters and we've asked for this, asked for that. If we say we're going to get confrontation, and we've tried to be diplomatic, we've spoken with them, we'll change it, but nothing changes.
Yeah.
There's a road, Shebanjo, all the way into Hotel Mina Shukwadetunji. That road was just reconstructed, as the case may be, according to them. And it's an eyesore. It's a terrible thing to call a road construction. And just 2 months after they constructed the road, problems up and down. You have ditches, bumps, massive bumps that could cause accidents.
Yeah.
Just like you said in your own case in Surulere, I called Alausa as well. They came to come and challenge them, and but the damage had already been done. So the road now is just in a deplorable state, even though they just tarred it. You understand? So before they even ended up tying it, a lot of people got injured. There was a malam that some of the metal rods exposed actually went through the neck of that man because he slipped and fell.
Can you imagine?
Oh, it's only by it's only by intervention of people quickly around that he was saved. But I'm sure he won't be able to use his neck properly. Why am I saying all of this grammar? The fact remains that the problem is from within us as individuals. Do we know our left from our right? Do we even understand the implications of our actions? The things we do we understand what it translates to at the end of the day? The selfish attitude of, oh, if I'm okay, what's my business with the man next door?
Yeah.
I don't care if my generator is making so much noise and emitting so much gas that can choke them, in as much as it's not in my room, I put it in my compound. all this attitude needs to change. There has to be a reorientation. And if we're able to also, as a forum, come up with a template that can help us in addressing these issues, you know, we can collect data, we can have information, pictures, videos, all these things. If there's a place where we can submit this collectively and then move en masse and address the local authorities and the state authorities in this regard, I think it will go a long way. Because let me be very frank with you, individually, there's a limit to what we can do. Yes, you can talk, you will have one or two people join you, but after a while, the tenacity is just going to fizzle.
Yeah.
You know, so there has to be a template. Let's come up with a blueprint.
Yeah.
Probably identifying areas of environmental, you know, risk and damages, or security, or food, all these areas. If there are templates that we can use, and then we know that we're a body. You understand? As a forum, we come up as a body, not necessarily going all registered, but I don't know, whichever form is going to take. But by the time anybody sees that, they know for a fact that, look, this is an advocacy group that you cannot but listen to.
Thank you.
That's my submission.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I'm happy that you brought up that issue, and then you also be able to, you know, make some recommendation. And I want to, you know, assure you that that is exactly what we want to do. You know, there's something I want to say before the next person, you know, speak, is that one thing I have noticed that work, especially in this age and this, you know, recent time, is that there are many platforms or avenue to engage people, organization, and government. When you do what we call the, you know, the subtle one in terms of exchange of information or letters or correspondence, all right, it works. But when that fails, and then you need to escalate, there are other platforms you do. And I will tell you, even with banks, I've done it with different corporate organizations, and it's individual one. You want to be more sensitive, because once you do it, it could go so far, and that individual may not recover, especially when you are so sure of what you want to do. So I don't do it for individual. I rather do other platforms. But what am I referring to? When you engage government or even corporate organization on social media, after you have explored other events, like you have said, you have written to them, you have done this, you have done that, and they feel that they seem not to be bothered about it. By the time you leverage on the social medias, they will come to their names, because they now know that, look, it's more wider. And I see these are strategy, not defining strategy, not damaging strategy, but it's just for you to get their attention and get results. And I tell you, it works anywhere in the world. Of course, you know it works. Look at you know, some bad situations in some other countries, and the moment it come to news, come to social media, you now begin to see defensive talk and talk. If what you are talking about, for instance, Adebuji, let me tell you some of the things I did in that Surulere. I went there with my phone. I did a recording of the reality on ground. So it's not like nobody would tell me, like, look, it's just being sentimental. And when I did the recording and I put it out on the platform, I mean the community platform, I said, this is it. I said, if this is not done within 48 hours or 1 week, I'm going to eat social media with my group. No, number one, I made them understand I'm not alone. So we need to, like you said, that's what this platform is. So even within that community, we need to look at people like minds that believe in this idea. Then when they know that you are not individual, then we let them know, look, after we have explored, we have our letter written, possibly acknowledge or not acknowledge. We have the email, we have the phone call, even SMS to the government chairman. Now, after I've done all of this, I feel like you still don't seem to be, and then if I eat social media, you won't be able to blame me. Because the moment you eat social media, they know that they are issue. Because why? I'm not going to copy the necessary agency and not necessary organizations. And that's what I do. I remember a situation when I ran into a situation at the ATM. I was rushing to work. I needed to fuel my car. And I got to I said, let me branch at the ATM. It was very early in the morning. Like even bank had not opened, and that's up to 7. And I got there, I used my card at the ATM to get in some cash. I was going to get like 5,000. And then the machine pulled out the money. I was rushing. And then the last note was 5 naira different from 500 naira note that was dropping from the machine. When I saw it, I was conscious. I think I counted the money to see whether that was going to be an extra so that I can drop it. When I realized that it was part of the note, I left the money. Because I rushed out of my car, I didn't pick my phone. So I rushed to my car to pick my phone, and I called the security guy. Because of course, like the bank has not opened. Come and see what happened. I took the picture of the note at the ATM machine without taking it. I showed the security guy. He said, that must have been an error. By the time I was wrapping up, he said, oh, the bank has actually opened. I should just walk in. I said, I'm rushing, that I'm late. So I should just quickly go inside. So I rushed inside. I went to the customer service, and I told the guy there, look, your machine dropped this 5 naira note as part of the 500 naira note supposed to complete my money. He said, really? He said, it's not possible. I said, well, that's what has happened. He went to the system, apparently must go and check the camera to see whether I was at the machine or something like that. And he came back to me. He said, well, this is not happening. It doesn't happen. But he replaced the 5 naira. I said, well, that's okay. And I left. And I put it on social media. Look, guys, be conscious and be careful when you go to the ATM machine. And I shared my experience, shared the picture. You know, this particular bank was GTB. All through that day, they called me up to the point that about 15 people called me from the bank, including some EDs. And they were asking me, what do I want? I said, I don't need anything. I'm only educating my fellow Nigerians. And then when I shared, and I realized that so many people have been victims. People told me all kinds of stories, how they would dispense and money would not be complete. I said, wow, I'm not aware. I only share my own experience. Do you know that, like I told you, about 15 people called me, even negotiating the ones I said, I don't need anything. Hey, but can you please pull it down? I said, what do you mean by pulling it down? Incidentally, I didn't even mention their name. But of course, yes, the message was very clear. Apparently, from the ATM machine, I'm not sure if that was what gave them a clue that is their branch. But I have a cousin that works there who also a very senior person, number 3 or number 4 person in the bank. And then he had to call me, Aburu, do you want to sack me? That was at the point I like, okay, I'm not sacking you. This is reality. Come and look at the comment of Nigerians about your bank. So what am I saying? The moment you expose them, it becomes and I'm telling you, any banks whatsoever that are messed up and you don't reverse the money or you take money anyhow, or any corporate organization whatsoever, they don't want that dent on their image. Now, I'm not saying we are going to go for that, but I'm saying we are going to engage, talk, speak, and we're going to have our record, fact, and figure. All are we doing? We are trying to save lives. We are trying to save environment. We are trying to protect. Even their own staff are part of the lives we want to save. All right, but of course, you and I know that their staffs will not talk. You and I know that some people that are benefiting, that are giving money to mortgage their own destiny will not talk. But some of us must rise to this responsibility. That is what work in developed world. We pay tax, we pay this, we pay that. How come some people would just take lives as if it's nothing important? Government that's supposed to be responsible is compromised. Government will go to the location, collect money from you. They say they give you kiosk, give that one kiosk, give that one kiosk. And when they do all of that, and they look away. And people now say, like, look, I paid for it. So people then begin to do all sorts of things because they felt they paid for it. One of the things that we need to understand is, let me say, some of us have experienced this. We have some small shops that operate cylinder gas that sells within some neighborhood. Now, there are measures that are supposed to be put in place, even if they're going to do such business within the community or neighborhood. But people just start business and they start doing, and then suddenly you had a cylinder busted in the middle of the night, maybe as a hit or forever. Then they burn that whole house. It has happened several in Lagos State. And people who live in that neighborhood never speak. Everybody felt like he's doing his own business. But lives are going to be lost eventually. We see building being constructed in our neighborhood. And you have seen from a perspective that this building seems to tilt to one side. Just look away. The day it collapses, God forbid that a family member is there. This is what we are saying. So, like you have said, Adigui, When we see things like that, we will take picture. We will develop content and share, send letter, get their email, get their phone number, and send to them. And when they do not do it, we go for the other direction. Because we only let them know, look, if this is not done within 1 week, within 1 month, we did this one, or this is when they invite us, we are not going to say, give us money. We don't need money. We are talking about protect life, protect the environment. So we're going to be advocacy. And we're going to make them look, we are talking about how we can protect people. And that's what we want to achieve. So every one of us is responsible because you don't know who's going to be involved. Imagine the road that had bumpy, that had ditches, you didn't speak. The day it happened and one of the family members is there, we will not be regretting. You not say it's government. How can it be government when it has been there for long and you kept quiet? Now a family member is involved. You are not saying, but God, why? God, you are wicked. You know, there are basic things we can do on our own part. And that's what we are saying. Let us do. And you're sincerely true. Sometimes the government has awarded this contract, they look away. But we can be their what? We can be their eyes. Because it's actually our money that they are using to award the contract. So these are things we're going to do. And then we will go as far as we can, all right, to protect the environment and to make sure that everybody is okay and we are fine. All right. So I'll stop. Do we have any other comments? We have just 3 minutes. I want us to shut down by 1 o'clock. Do you have questions? Another comment? And as many of us that are ready to be part of the team, you know, we already have a platform. And then, like I said, we're going to draft some of us into the leadership. And then we're going to get going from there and set up all the necessary angle to it. So any other question, please, or comment or feedback, the floor is open. You can unmute yourself if you have your, and then we'll wrap up by 1 on the dot and call it a day. Any other comment, any other suggestions, ideas you want to share with us on this journey, on this advocacy journey to making our environment more better secured, our environment more protected, and you know, making life more meaningful for ourselves and our people. All right. Okay. So Dr. Alex, you are welcome back. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being part of this. And like I said, when you are absent, we are obviously going to have to do some 1 or 2 projects with you, advocacy, and then we're going to do some community impact project. God will help us, the resources. God will, you know, give us opportunity. One of the ones that have come to my mind right now is October 1st. We've tried to do some community impact and advocacy for October 1st. I don't know how we're going to go about it, but of course, we're going to partner with you and some other people. And part of the thing we will do that day is to make sure that every of our group member plant a tree. Wherever you are in the world, just plant a tree and send the picture. And we also make it to a trend. And that's what we want to, because planting 1 tree, you know, will save the life in future. It will do a lot of things to life expectancy rate, you know. So I think we're going to start this approach that this is August, so we still have September and October. October 1st, National Nigeria Independence Day. So we want to talk about the environmental sustainability, the impact on the community, advocacy, and then we're going to do some specialized project. You know, we will partner with some few and collaborate with some organization. African Clean Initiative is top on the agenda, and then God will help us to achieve that. All right, Dr. Alex, you have any closing word for us, and then we can call it a day.
Okay, sir. Dr. Ayo, thank you so much for your time, and I want to thank everyone for this beautiful engagement. Still based on the topic I was asked to speak on today, my closing word would be that as individuals, what would be that one thing that you would love them to remember you for, that you did for Mother Earth? What is that one thing that you would love everybody to remember you for, or to know you for, that you did for Mother Earth in your office, at home, where you work? What is that one thing? I mean, more than one, but then please think of something that you would love them to know you for when it comes to doing to keep the environment safe and clean for everybody. And remember, like I said before, the environment is God's gift to man. What you do with it is your gift to humanity. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you everyone once again. I appreciate you so much for your time. And of course, I will add Dr. Alex to our platform if he's not there. And then if you're not on the platform, let me know. You can also let me know we had it there. And then let's take this conversation going. And then the world will be a better place for all of us. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. My regards. Bye for now.